The winter sky over eastern Ukraine was a dull gray canvas, streaked with smoke trails and the lingering echoes of artillery. Below, the ruins of a highway lay covered in frost and scattered debris. The Russians had moved a large armored convoy into the region overnight. Nearly 24 tanks, anti-aircraft systems, fuel trucks, and mobile command posts crawling toward Bakhmut like a steel serpent. Intel suggested this column was critical. It carried a high-ranking general and a shipment of Iranian drones. Major Andriy Sokolov, call sign Falcon One, sat in the cockpit of his F-16 fighting Falcon at an undisclosed NATO-Ukraine forward operating base. Sweat dripped down his back despite the biting cold. His fingers hovered over the throttle. This wasn't a standard sortie. This was a one-way run. The convoy was heavily guarded. Russian Ka-52 Alligator gunships were sweeping the sky, and S-400 missile systems lurked in the forests flanking the road. It was suicide. But Andriy had volunteered. He glanced once at the small photo tucked inside the cockpit, his wife Lena and daughter Katya, taken in happier times. He whispered something inaudible and closed the canopy. This wasn't about medals. It was about stopping that convoy before it reached the front. Falcon One, you are cleared for takeoff. You have 1 hour of airspace before they'll track you. Godspeed. The voice crackled through the headset. Andriy roared down the icy tarmac and shot into the sky, his F-16 cutting through the clouds like a silver arrow. He leveled off at low altitude to avoid radar and began weaving through the terrain, rivers and ruins whipping by below. His wingman, Lieutenant Mykola Viper II, flew in tight formation behind him. "Looks like they're expecting us," Viper muttered. "Picked up chatter. They've deployed air assets." "Then let's not keep them waiting," Andriy replied. As they neared the coordinates, Russian Ka-52s appeared on the horizon, sleek, black, twin-rotor monsters armed to the teeth. The radio came alive with garbled Russian commands. One of the alligators broke formation and lunged. "Break right," Andriy shouted, pulling the stick with practiced violence. A hail of 30mm shells stitched the sky where he had just been. Viper rolled under him and loosed a sidewinder. It corkscrewed and slammed into the Ka-52, detonating it mid-air. "Splash one," Viper called. But 3 more Ka-52s emerged from the smoke, flanking them in a triangle. The air turned into a ballet of missiles, flares, and cannon fire. One chopper dove straight for Viper. "Viper! Eject!" Too late. The gunship fired a burst, and Mykola's F-16 spiraled, belching flame, and slammed into a hill. The explosion bloomed like a dying sun. Andriy didn't have time to mourn. He gunned the afterburners and shot up through a cloud layer, looped over, and dove back down like a raptor, releasing a pair of laser-guided bombs. They struck 2 T-90 tanks on the road. Both vehicles flipped into the air and burst into fireballs. The convoy panicked. Trucks swerved. Soldiers scattered. The S-400 system locked onto him. He heard the high-pitched tone. Missile inbound. He released flares and dove, hugging the terrain so tightly the jet's underbelly scraped treetops. The missile shot past him and exploded harmlessly in the sky. He popped up again, took another pass, and dropped cluster munitions. Several armored vehicles were shredded into twisted metal. Another Ka-52 was on him now. He flipped inverted and pulled a hard loop, the G-forces threatening to black him out. He caught the chopper in his sights and let loose a missile. It struck the cockpit dead center. The chopper exploded, raining rotor blades over the trees. His HUD flickered. Damage. He'd taken a hit during the last run. Hydraulic fluid was leaking. He didn't have long. "Base, this is Falcon One. I've hit half the convoy." Repeating, "half the convoy destroyed. I need static. Jamming." Then a voice broke through the interference. Not from the base. "Major Sokolov. I see you." The accent was Russian. Cold. "You are very brave. But brave men die too. You killed my brother outside Kiev. Today I return the favor." Andriy's radar picked up a bogey. Fast. Su-35, Russian air superiority fighter. Much faster and deadlier than his wounded F-16. "Let's finish this," Andriy muttered, nose bleeding from the GS. He knew he wouldn't survive this dogfight. But he had one last play. He dropped altitude and raced toward the convoy's last cluster, the command truck. The Su-35 gave chase, gaining fast. The Russian pilot taunted him again. "No more tricks, Major. Time to fall." Andriy released chaff and flares, then banked into a narrow ravine. The Su-35 followed, missiles armed. At the bottom of the ravine, Andriy performed the impossible, a cobra maneuver into a vertical climb, cut throttle just enough to stall momentarily, forcing the Su-35 to overshoot. He punched the missile release and fired. Direct hit. The Su-35 disintegrated into a flaming comet. Breathing hard, Andriy turned toward the convoy. His jet was failing. Engines sputtering. Alarms blared. But the command vehicle was still mobile, fleeing toward a nearby tunnel. No. Not today. He opened his comms, praying someone could hear. "Any unit, this is Falcon One. I'm going down. Marking last position. Engaging final target." He pushed the stick forward. Nosedive. He armed his last payload, a pair of 500-pound bombs. He flew straight into the convoy's path, screaming past trees, smoke, and crumbling roadways. The command truck entered the tunnel. He dropped the bombs at the entrance. Detonation. The entire mountain shook. The tunnel collapsed in a thunderous roar, burying the command post beneath tons of rock. The last of the convoy's leadership was gone. His F-16 now a fireball, Andriy ejected seconds before impact. He hit the frozen earth hard, bones fracturing. Pain engulfed him. But he was alive. Ukrainian special forces arrived 20 minutes later, guided by his beacon. They found him unconscious, broken, but breathing. The wreckage of the convoy smoldered behind him. 3 days later, in a hospital bed in Lviv, Andriy opened his eyes. Lena was there, holding his hand. Katya climbed onto the bed and hugged him. "You came back," Lena whispered, tears in her eyes. He smiled weakly. "I promised." The convoy was gone. The Russian general presumed dead. A decisive blow that stalled the eastern advance for weeks. Ukrainian morale surged. But the war was not over. Back in Moscow, a man watched the intercepted footage from the wrecked Su-35's black box. His brother's voice. His death. The man stood up, stone-faced. "Major Sokolov." He turned to an aide. "Assemble the Ghost Squadron. The twist was just beginning."